The Chosen One is the threat. Prince of Arran 100 to go. The Chosen One bridging the gap. The Chosen One up to Prince of Arran. The Chosen One gets a 10 in front. The Chosen One won it by a half. Prince of Arran.
You know a little bit about winning a Caulfield Cup. Line him up with others that you've tried to win this race with.
Well, I think he's an improving horse. You know, he hasn't had a lot of racing. I think it was his 13th start. So, you know, I'd hope that he'd go on with it.
He's a son of Savabeel and the Glitzy One, the Chosen One, and he is racing in the Stella Artois Caulfield Cup later on today, New Zealand time, trained by Murray Baker and also Andrew Forsman. Andrew kindly joins us on the Punters Lounge live right now. Good morning, Andrew. How's the Chosen One? Are you happy with him?
Good morning, Jason. Yeah, he's very well. I got here yesterday afternoon and he looks great. He's in perfect order. He looks bright in the eye, so really looking forward to seeing what he can do today.
Were you relieved when you saw his performance last start compared to the start before, which probably had your head being scratched quite a bit?
Yeah, obviously we were. We were very happy with his first up run and were quietly confident he'd be right in the finish in the Underwood, but it wasn't to be, and we were left, soul searching a little bit as to what sort of went wrong or what was the right thing to do heading forward. But I'm glad that it all came to all sort of fitted into place in the Herbert Power last Saturday.
The gear change, the addition of blinkers, how significant for you?
Hard to know. Look, the second up run in the Underwood could have just been a bit of a flat run. He might have just been having a bit of a bludge on the day, and it's really hard to know if the gear did make too much of a difference or not, but it certainly produced a positive result, so that's the main thing.
Stephen Baster picks up the ride. What will you be discussing given a really awkward and I suppose you'd say disappointing barrier draw, but look, that's what you've got. What will you be discussing to try and overcome that and win the race?
Yeah, I think obviously it's going to be very much up to Stephen from out there. His pattern of racing is naturally to sort of just get back, find his feet and come with one sort of long sustained run. That's the big asset he has, is that he can sustain a run from a long way out. You look back to some of those races in Sydney in the autumn and the Derby in particular, he was back and wide. And the Frank Packer plate, he took off and looped them and kept the run right through the line. He was strong at the line last Saturday, so I guess that does give us a lot of confidence. The key will be getting onto the back of the right horse at the right time, and that's something Stephen will just have to work out.
Great to get some pictures through from the person looking after the Chosen One alongside you there, Andrew, and Alicia Legg. And you spoke at the top of this interview that you're really happy with him. Are there other runners in the race that you'll be keeping a close eye on? Has Damien Lane given you any insight into the Japanese runner, for example?
Yeah, well, it's good having some of those horses drawn around us. Just hard to know whether, you think a classy horse like that will be able to give you a drag into it, but hard to know where they're actually going to want to end up in the run. So, again, it's a full field of very good gallopers. That's key. If it's a $5 million race, they're all there to win, and that's reflected in the market. I don't think anyone's really settled on a winner yet, and it just sums up how competitive it is.
What's the difference in your feelings today as opposed to maybe Mongolian Khan when he was going into his Caulfield Cup before he won it?
Obviously, Mongolian Khan, things did plan out perfectly for him on the day. He lobbed him to a perfect spot. Opie rode in the tree, got going at the right time. They went slowly. And I guess, everything did go his way on the day, where it's not going to necessarily be the case today for the Chosen One. He's going to have to be very good, I think, to round up some of these horses. So that will be the difference. I think it's probably a better field to be, no disrespect to the horses Mongolian Khan beat. This is a different level again. The horses that come from Europe get stronger and stronger every year, and the Japanese, and it's a very tough race.
It certainly is. We wish you all the best. If you have just joined us on the Punters Lounge Live, we're speaking with Andrew Forsman, co-trainer of the Chosen One. We were hoping to see Crown Prosecutor compete in the Caulfield Cup today, but unfortunately yesterday he was removed from the race due to not passing Racing Victoria Limited Stewards Vet test. So unfortunate there. Just switching to Rotorua now, Andrew, and the Stephanos Classic. what sort of Zacata's going to show up? Can you predict him?
Yeah, look, he's been very disappointing his last couple, especially when he got back to Ellerslie last start. We thought there's a lot of things in his favour. He was racing at a track that he's performed well on. We know he's a bit of an enigma at the best of times, but his last two starts have been the runs of a horse that doesn't really want to be there. So today is very much D-Day. He needs to really, put his hand up and prove that he wants to be competitive.
Often in his work, you've noted to us in the past that, when he's working well, you can tell that he's switched on. When he won at Rotorua earlier in the year, it was one of those situations. Have you got that sense about Zacata today? Yeah,
I think probably his last couple of gallops have been better. He's just, he's always been a very hard-going track worker, but I think he just sort of worked more like the work of old this week, perhaps. But I guess he really just has to step up and do it race day, because his last couple he sort of just wanted to throw his head around and not necessarily over race, just race awkwardly. And that's, not a great sign. So, hard to go into the day with too much confidence. Just want to see him race back at his best.
Over 1,950 metres is the second race, and you've got Pearl Essence. How pleased were you to see her do what she did last start? She was pretty decent when she won, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. I think, she did get held up for a long time, and that might have been a bit of a blessing for her. She's not overly big, but she held up for that one run. She did show a good turn of foot. So in a small field today, hopefully it can be ridden the same, just a nice patient ride and balance up. She should get through the track okay. She handles those off tracks all right. So similar sort of run, should see her going close.
She sort of promised a lot at various stages throughout her career. She's 6 now, but I suppose even sort of a year and a half ago, I'm sure you would have thought that she's a mare that would progress well beyond 65.
Yeah, she's always shown ability, just probably hasn't quite strung it together for whatever reason. But I think definitely getting up over ground is a key for her. And like I said, probably just the way she was ridden did really suit her. So I'll be trying to replicate that today.
Daughter of Per Encanto is Lady Lyra. She competes at Rotorua in the third race. What are you expecting to see from her, given her fresh-up performance?
Yeah, I think she was too fresh at Taupo the other day. She hadn't raced for a long while, and probably a long time since her actual trial leading into it. So she had a good sweep behind the barriers, and she sort of knew she'd run her race before they jumped. But she'll be a big improver. She's worked well this week. She's a winner on a wet track at Rotorua, so there's a lot of things in her favour. Having said that, it's quite a competitive race. There's a lot of horses that will jump and run and put themselves there, and a few of the key chances have got claims too, which will certainly help them.
What are you wanting to see from her this preparation, the second up run, and sort of what direction do you think she can head in?
I think, she's got a lot in her favour today, and she really needs to put her hand up and run top 3 and prove that she is going to be a progressive mare, and hopefully we can have a bit more fun with her yet.
Okay, let's summarise the Baker Forsman runners here in New Zealand, and also, of course, the Chosen One, and confirming Pearl Essence, Lady Lyra at Zacata at Rotorua, the Chosen One there at Caulfield. Pearl Essence is the shortest of them at $2.30. Andrew, which of the 4 is your best?
Yeah, I think she would be the best. She gets another run in 65 grade, and the form that she's in, if things pan out, she should be very hard to beat.
Outstanding. Andrew Forsman joining us on the Punters Lounge Live. We thank him very much for his time on Caulfield Cup Day. Yes, he's there in Melbourne. He'll be overseeing all the final preparations for the Chosen One for the Caulfield Cup that will be shown on TAB Trackside 1 later today. The Punters Lounge Live continues. We'll be joined by Matthew Pittman to talk about the chances of their team at Ashburton in just a moment.